takes a team of people of all different expertise, but all kind of pointed in the same direction to make it work. And we have to be willing to share information with each other. We have to be willing to work with each other and know that it's not just my job, it's our job.
We really need to break things down in a way that everyone who's reading these documents can understand.
Clinical language and legal language is very different, and sometimes that in itself can be a barrier.
We're asking and encouraging you all to consider things like investing in understanding these communities, investing in rehabilitation, restorative justice measures.
In our focus groups, what we heard from the children is that there's still lots of stigma around talking about mental health and substance use concerns.
Burnout isn't an individual phenomenon, and I think it's really unethical for us to try to address burnout in our organizations from a place of just self-care. We have to address it from a systemic perspective.
Make no mistake, this system is traumatic. It in and of itself is creating its own trauma. Each and every person that sits here can start an individual off on their diversion path.
Even though I think and have compassion for people, I think now when you, as they say, walk a mile in their shoes, that I'm going to try to make sure that those people that do have to walk that mile have the resources, the individuals that they can go to help walk them through those programs, and the information that they need to be able to be successful when they come out.
Bereavement is actually the most frequently reported type of trauma in clinic-referred youth. It's also the strongest predictor of poor school outcomes above and beyond any other form of trauma.
There is no research out that indicates that it is helpful for the client to have to stop the use of these medications before they leave your program. But the way that the brain synapses are changed, we cannot change those synapses simply by having them in our court.
They're not being counted. And we are not counting girls. You've erased their childhood. You've erased their experiences. And that's why data is so important in the work that we do.
We developed the County Mental Health Law Plan. It's a checklist. It's a chance to do a self-analysis, get some education, and then work with us in a personalized workshop.
The acuity of the children that they are serving now is unlike the acuity of the children that they were serving even 10 years ago. What we heard is that there is a need for more crisis services, things like youth crisis outreach teams or mobile crisis outreach teams. We heard that there's a need for more outpatient services.
There is a knowledge practice gap in the system that has blamed families instead of recruiting them as allies. Talking to and listening to families like mine is in everyone's best interests.
The risk principle says you need to direct your resources and your most intensive services to high-risk individuals, and you want to minimize services to lower-risk individuals.
This is the mistake that I see people make the most when they're trying to de-escalate somebody. If I'm in a heightened state of emotion, you've got to get me back down to a state of communication before you can start talking about how we're going to solve the problem.